I love the energy already. This is DraftKings' baby we call the sweat. I'm Emerson Lazia. We'll begin with the highest rated segment in this show's ridiculously long life. Put up your bukes. DraftKings contributors Steve Buchanan and Nick Friar. Good morning, everybody. Another fancy graphic here we're going to punch up showing everyone where we are in the most heated rivalry at DraftKings. This has seriously become like the next Bryson DeChambeau versus Brooks Koepka. So in case all of you watching, any of you are new here, this segment is all about Steve giving his favorite plays in Major League Baseball, and then Nick either agreeing or putting up his bukes and fighting back. Nick, right now, bud, 4-3 series lead. How would you describe your performance up to this point?
Well, I thought last week was average. I could have done better, but at least I maintained the lead. And then, you guys did this. Steve was on the show Tuesday. I couldn't be here, and you guys didn't do the segment without me. So I think it shows that, Steve wants to say I'm a nobody, but I'm becoming a vital part of the segment.
I mean, I hate to break it to you. I wasn't on the show Tuesday either. So sorry.
No. Okay.
Well, Steve, with Nick being up 4-3, that means you're down 4-3. What's your level of concern that you're losing to Nick Friar?
So, you know how like the Giants are in first place in the NL West? It's not going to stay like that. So it's like, enjoy it while you can, and then we'll see you at the bottom of the barrel when the end of the season concludes.
Okay, so you're expecting some kind of comeback out of yourself, and maybe it starts today in today's edition of Put Up Your Buke. So let's go. On the mound, pitcher, who's your guy?
Luis Garcia going up against the Tigers. When I was growing up, my mother told me not to pick on people. Then I started working here, and that all went out the window. So not only do I like picking on people, I like picking on individual teams. And we're doing that against the Tigers because they just love to strike out. Now, to be fair, the Tigers team has actually been hitting somewhat well over the past week. You kind of go through these peaks and valleys through the season of baseball. But if there's one thing I can hang my hat on here, Garcia probably has one of the best strikeout upsides on this slate, aside from Walker Buehler, going up against the Cubs. When Garcia faced his team earlier this season, he only pitched 4 1/3 inning, but that's fine that he didn't go that long because he struck out 7 in the process and got 22 DraftKings fantasy points. He's only 8,700 tonight, which makes him the 5th most expensive pitcher on the slate. That is incorrect. That should not be that way, but I'm not going to complain. I'm going to take the savings, put him in my lineup, get that strikeout upside against the Tigers, and move on to my hitters.
Okay, Nick, how do we feel about Steve's pick?
This is the one pick I agree with Steve on today because there's not a lot of pitching that I like on this slate. Obviously Walker Buehler is in a favorable matchup against the Cubs, but his price is sky high. Then you got Luis Garcia, who's going up against the Tigers team that Ohtani, Giolito, Cobb, and Cease all got at least 20 DK fantasy points against their last time on. This is over the past 2 weeks. They're not striking out a ton against righties of late. I know Ohtani only got 5, but when you're seeing that kind of production still, and you have that offense backing you where a win is in play too against the Tigers, you can't go wrong here with taking Luis Garcia.
All right, then Steve, how does that make you feel? Actually, real quick, he actually agrees with you.
Yeah, see, like he doesn't want to do the research, like he just agrees with me, and then he'll just do a couple seconds of research, and that will be his guy for that one. So that's all.
Wow. Okay.
Well, Nick has already teased kind of the rest of the segment here, and how I feel like you two are not going to be on the same page. So take me to infielder here.
I mean, to be fair, we're not on the same page for anything in life, so that's not a big surprise.
I'm happy about.
But let's talk about quiet. Let's talk about Trey Mancini, who's going to be facing Anthony Everything Will Not Begin with K tonight, who is making a spot start coming up from AAA. He's kind of like, the old Robbie Ray, where he'll come up, he'll strike out 6 or 7 guys, but also give up 6 or 7 runs in the process. And he hasn't been doing well when he's been pitching. He's thrown 21 innings, allowed 16 runs on 22 hits, 5 of those home runs, and 23 strikeouts. So he's got that upside, but he's going to give up a ton of production. This game has an over-under of 11 runs tonight. It is not in Coors Field. It is in Buffalo, New York, where Toronto plays right now because of all, COVID, pandemic, blah, 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 blah. But this is such a high run total that I need some part of this game. And specifically Trey Mancini, he's been crushing lefties all season long. He's averaging 11.8 DraftKings fantasy points against left-handed pitchers this season, 414 WOBA, 322 isolated power. With how much K has struggled in the majors and in AAA so far this season, I want a part of that lineup. Mancini's hitting in the heart of it, so that's going to be my guy tonight.
All right, Nick, why are you putting up your bukes here and fighting back against Mancini?
Because I want Brandon Lau in my lineup, and I need to get a little bit of that the Rays lineup against Nick Pivetta tonight. And look, Lau has been good of late, 3 home runs, 3 doubles in his last 10 games. But it's more about Pivetta, and I just want any part of the Red Sox pitching that I can right now, or going up against them, I should say. Pivetta got racked 2 starts ago against the Blue Jays, and then against the Royals last time out. He gave up 3 runs over 6 innings. Now, on the surface, it's like, okay, well, that's a decent outing. Still, you have 6 hits, a home run, 3 walks. But that's a Royals team that's not hitting right-handed pitching well of late at all this season. And then Pivetta has been getting hit against by left-handed batters better than against righties. So I'm going to go with Lau, who's been picking it up of late at 4.2K.
Outfielder, who is your dude, Bukes?
So you don't even need to go expensive at outfield because Michael Brantley is just sitting there for the taking at 4,200, which is still way too cheap for the level of play that he's been doing since he's come back off the injured list. Since he returned near the beginning of June, he has a 549 WOBA and a 218 isolated power. Of those hits, 7 doubles, a triple, a home run, and 15 RBI in just 14 games. There is nothing not to like about Michael Brantley tonight. He's going up against Jose Urena, who cannot stay on the mound for long. We haven't seen him go more than 5 2/3 innings in 4 straight games. He's struggling against both sides of the plate. So why not get one of the guys that's in the heart of the Astros lineup, who has been absolutely mashing the ball since he's returned? I can't wait to hear what Nick has to say on why this is not a good pick, because he's always the cheap guy who wants to save all this salary.
All right, cheap guy. Have at it.
Yeah, cheap guy. Tell us, savers.
Look, Brantley is a great pick tonight. I think you have to every night. Okay, Steve, you're welcome. Why don't you shut up now that I'm talking? Shushing me earlier. Michael, but I want to give you guys somebody else because Steve's already given you a good pick, and we try and diversify a little bit in this segment.
Oh, thanks.
So I'm going to go with, this is about them, Steve, not you. Shut up. I'm going to go with Kyle Schwarber because he's at 3.9K, so he's cheaper. He's got 6 home runs in his last 4 games, 9 in his last 10. 18 of his 19 home runs this season are against right-handed pitching. He's going up against Cody Poteet tonight, who has a 1.6 home run per 9 innings rate in this on the whole season. And as much as he has reverse splits, he's given up 3 home runs to lefties versus 2 to righties, and only 9 more plate appearances against left-handed hitters.
All right, producer Slate says Nick Friar, more like Nick Fire, bringing it today. And this is a nice little section for you, cheap guy. Value. So, Steve, go ahead. Have at it.
I mean, I think we just figured out why producer Slates is behind the camera, not in front of the camera. So we'll just keep it at that. Trevor LARNACH tonight going up against the Indians, facing JC Mejia, who has really struggled in a starting role this season. He's done a little bit of relief. He's done a little bit in the starting role, not doing well in the starting role. Against lefties, it's a very small sample, but against lefties so far up in the majors, allowing a 443 WOBA and a 5.28 FIP. He's facing Trevor LARNACH, who has done pretty well against righties since being called up, 368 WOBA, 172 isolated power. But what I like about this is that he hits in a very favorable spot in the Twins lineup. He's been batting either third or fourth, depending on who's starting that day. So he's going to be in a really good spot in the lineup. Just too cheap for hitting in that prime spot of a lineup. And with the little bit of power that he has too as well, I think he's a great value play.
Nick, what you think?
I'm going to go with Gregor Polanco as my value play tonight. As much as Steve has a legitimate option there, I like Gregor Polanco at 2.7K against Carlos Martinez, and this is all about their history. He has 4 doubles, 1 triple, and a home run in 40 career plate appearances against Carlos Martinez, and he's got a 4.38 batting average and then a 1.269 OPS against Martinez throughout those 40 career plate appearances. So this is a guy he's done very well against, and Carlos Martinez, I mean, Steve, you can't argue that Carlos Martinez is a guy who you've had some fun at the expense of this season. He's been brutal, and I know last time he was like 8 runs. He got racked. So yeah, I want a piece of Carlos Martinez, and I'm going to get that by going with Gregor Polanco at 2.7K.